To BSides DC 2014, our second year here in Washington as a regional BSides. We changed our slogan a little bit. We're now the Hacktoberfest of BSides. We thought it was a little bit more jaunty. I'm going to just do a couple of housekeeping items. My name is Mark Boltz. For those of you who don't know me, I am one of the co-directors of Security BSides DC, one of the people who was insane enough 2.5 years ago to tell Jack Daniels that I wanted a BSides in DC. This is Alex Norman. He's our other co-director. We are the ultimate bosses. Any issues, final resolution come through us. And what we say is final, unless it's the police or the FBI. So generally, we just have a couple of rules. During your sessions, we have 2 tracks. One will be here in AB, the other will be DE in the back, with the middle here as an air gap after the Marriott gets to reconfigure this from the general session and Keynote. That's today and tomorrow. Tomorrow morning we will have a panel discussion at 9 a.m. on diversity in IT and where we're going with that and if we're making any progress, and if so, what progress are we making. We have all of our vendors out here. They're actually sponsors, sorry. I just broke my own rule on that. So all our sponsors who help make the event possible, be sure to stop by and say hello to each of them. We ask that for each session you always make sure that any kind of devices you have that make noise, especially in the talks, that they are non-disruptive in either do not disturb or silent mode. Please respect your speakers, all of the organizers, the volunteers, and even your other fellow participants. Please adhere to our principles. They are on our website. The number 1 principle is simply do not be an asshole. Please participate, be involved. This is your event, not ours. We are just helping you put this on, and it's for your benefit, so please be involved. You'll see that we have the various badges. Yes, you need stinking badges. Please wear it at all times. It indicates that you're part of our group. The badge colors are significant. Orange is for all of the organizers. Basically what they say goes. Yellow is for the volunteers who are helping us. They are also in staff shirts, which is this blue color versus the green that you got. You can see any one of them if you have any issues, concerns, or need any assistance or have any questions. If they don't know the answer, they can find somebody who does. The white are our speakers. Please thank them for making their part of this event possible. Green are our sponsors. They're green because they give us money. Lots of money, because this Marriott ain't cheap. Red are security. Please obey them. And blue are all of you guys. Thank you very much for coming. So this is our second year. We sold more tickets in less time than we did last year. Last year we had about 455 attendees out of 650 tickets sold. We sold over 800 tickets this year so far, and we are running at a rate of about the same in terms of attrition. I believe so far we are around the 500 to 600 mark. I'm not exactly sure yet. We got to pull the numbers a little bit later. We were the first year largest BSides ever. For a first-year BSides last year, we were the largest BSides of any first-year BSides event, period. It's an amazing thing. I'm really, really impressed with everybody that helped pull that off. We are still running as one of the largest BSides globally after BSides Las Vegas. So thank you all for helping make that happen too. Which clearly shows that I wasn't too crazy when I thought that DC needed BSides. So a couple of events and items of interest. Locksport Village. The newly founded Tool DC chapter of Tool will be over in London too. They will be available today and tomorrow for the Locksport Village if you're interested in picking locks. A couple rules for them: do not take the locks, ask questions, and please use their locks for practice. Do not use those of the hotel or surrounding area. The wireless CTF is also over in London 1, adjacent to the Locksport Village. They will begin a little bit later today. Those are also on this level. Please follow their instructions, check on the leaderboard. Please hack their Wi-Fi, not ours, or the hotels or the surroundings. There's an ICS village. They'll be up in Salon 3 of the Junior Ballroom, which is our other training space. That is our Hall of Education, 2 levels up. We added that space this year. So you can find them there. This was created for DEF CON this year. They're doing industrial control systems, programmable logic controllers, and all that kind of fun stuff with robots and shit. Have fun. This evening at 7:30 p.m. at the Iron Horse Tavern, a couple blocks away. We are there at the Black. They're over there. I'm sure you all know how to use a map tool at this point to find an address. We will be providing drink tickets, at least 1 per person with a badge. You must bring your badge to get a drink ticket. That gets you either a beer or a well drink, courtesy of us. We have no sponsor for this event this year. This is out of our own generous pocket. It will have DC and local area beers on draft. We may provide more drink tickets depending on how things go and how much money we have left in the bank after we pay the hotel. A couple of sponsors to call out. We have Engage the Audience, General Dynamics Fidelis Systems, Cybersecurity Solutions. They provided $6,000 to make this event possible. It was our down payment for the hotel. So please be extra generous and effuse in your support and thanks of them, especially on social media. We have various above and beyond sponsors. You can see all of these folks out in the halls throughout the event. We're going to go through too much detail of them, and our core supporters who at least chipped in something to help out. Several of them are returning sponsors, especially want to thank Tenable, which actually bumped up at the last minute and threw more money at us. I don't know if Jack Daniel had a hand in that or not, but in any case, we appreciate their support of the event overall. We also want to give thanks to Sophos, who provides an entire network kit to security BSides, period. All BSides have access to this kit. And also thanks to Jack for helping up with our infrastructure team in setting that up. We want to thank Tool for helping out with the Locksport Village. They will have various volunteers there helping to teach people how to pick. The Iron Horse, of course, for accommodating us, even though they have a Washington Capitals game tonight, which will put us busy at the first part of the evening. And of course, the Marriott Hotel and the Marriott staff for helping make the event possible. We are doing donations and collecting donations for either EFF and or Hackers for Charity. If you donate to either one of these or both, each donation, one each to each of them, will also get you an additional raffle ticket for the Pony Express Pwn Phone 2014 we will be auctioning off at Sunday's closing remarks. Every completed speaker eval at every session also gets you a raffle ticket for that Pwn phone and an additional chance to win. If you buy a sweatshirt or one of last year's t-shirts at the shop, when it becomes a shop after it's done being registration, a portion of those proceeds also go to either organization. There's a little popsicle stick you can use to designate which one you would like it to go to. And then obviously thanks to our team, Alex, and all of our entire staff for making the event possible. Probably the next craziest thing I did after deciding to try and actually pull off a BSides, especially of this magnitude, was ask Jericho to be our keynote speaker today. So I'd like to have everybody give him a warm round of welcome while I pull up his slides.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for waking up on a Saturday morning. I know how that goes. We've all been to our share of conferences. Sorry. Is this thing recording too? Okay, sorry. So anyway, I'm Jericho. I was told, hey, show up and speak about something. They didn't really tell me what kind of topic or whatever I should do. Hang on a second. They told me it's a keynote, which is new for me. This is my first time, so you get to witness me lose my keynote virginity. I thought about sticking with what was up on their page, how to hack a squirrel. But then you think about it, good luck with that. I'm kind of skeptical of keynotes myself. I've been unhappy with most of them I attended in the past. So this is certainly a challenge to me. I take my talks very seriously. Jake in the audience, he was like, dude, what's up? You know, you're actually taking this seriously. I was like, yeah. My second thought was, what the hell did I agree to? And then I thought, wait, what makes a keynote? We all know that RSA had 16 keynotes this year across 4 days. So it kind of makes me think, a keynote's just like another talk, right? And one of them was actually a panel. Have you ever seen a panel keynote? Makes no sense to me. So I asked Twitter, I said, hey, what do you expect out of a keynote? And one reply said it should explain why security matters. Well, if we're in this business, I kind of hope we can answer that. Another said they want a different and broader perspective. Okay, that's fair. One honest reply said a good seat for whatever talk comes next. Hey, that's fair. I was told it should propose solutions, not more of you were doing it wrong. Yet another said it should contain stories that relay relevant experience. Well, I'm kind of an outlier, so not sure how relevant my stories would be. A few people said it should set the tone, but I don't think that can be done for a multidisciplinary conference like this. First, the CFP selection can happen months in advance, long before a keynote's chosen. So now that all the other speakers were there and ready to go, I'm supposed to come in and set their tone? That doesn't work for me. Unless the con is very specifically focused, I don't think you can. And some of them really are, and that's a real conference. Set the tone? Come on, people. Yeah. I had to ask if keynotes use slides, because most of them I've seen don't. And I was told that they do, which is a great relief to me because they're kind of a crutch. Not only do I have to use my notes so I don't divert too far off topic, but if I bore you, at least you get funny pictures. I'm not much of a motivational speaker, and this is an incredible responsibility. Hey, how's it going? Recognize? Oh, you're laughing at me, not that. Yeah. So let me again emphasize that. This is an incredible responsibility. At least that's how I took it. Unfortunately, many keynote speakers out there, they don't seem to think of it that way. They think about themselves, their appearance, the money they make. It's a job to them. And if you didn't know, some of these popular names, no names mentioned, get up to $15,000 to speak. Yeah, all that. So, great question. And yeah, it's actually in my notes. Before today, I was getting 3 nights of hotel, which is very generous. I thought that was great. This morning, I was told I was offered an honorarium. I told them, no thanks, donate it to a local animal charity. So they're going to do that. So imagine if these guys with their $15,000 talks did that and started giving it to EFF or Securing Change or one of the other charities. I think that'd be a little better. So how many big conference keynotes tell you anything new or different? There's a little bonus irony since Steve Christian and I did a huge talk about vulnerability stats and bias and all that, and I lie with stats later on in the talk, and you guys can call me out on that. And I even have a footnote in the notes that say, yeah, I know I'm lying, but okay. So we know security is needed, and the state of affairs is bad, but most of us can't qualify it other than saying, oh, it's bad, and here's some high-level stats that mean, you know, as much as that one. Does that seem right to you? No. We need to fix that. So what's kind of the status of security, or at least as far as I see it? Yeah, it's complicated, for sure. I don't think the industry understands fully what we're up against. Do we know that companies, some of them claiming to help you, are actually working against you? I'm a security company. Spend your money with me. I'm going to help protect you. And then as soon as they turn around and you're not in the room, they are working against you. It's not that they're doing a bad job. They're just like, no, I care more about lining my pockets than your security. And it's not happening as a one-off. It's at scale. These multi-million-dollar companies that balk at inexpensive solutions, and they say, the scariest thing I've heard in my life, in 20 years of InfoSec, our customers aren't asking for better. Yeah. You know how many times I've heard that in the past 2 years? It scares the hell out of me. So I say, well, of course not. You're an idiot. Your customer hired you because you know security. You're the one that's supposed to bring these solutions to them, and they don't. They're like, ooh, we only made $2.3 million last year. We can't afford that $20,000 solution that would just, make our service radically better. We're not going to do that. So that's not good. We're up against hundreds of millions of devices that aren't patched on time and never will be. So yeah, we can play the patching game, but even in the modern state of things, how often do you see an organization fully patched within 24 hours of a release? You basically don't, yeah. It's not gonna happen. We have to consider millions of devices that can't be patched at all, some of them running critical systems. And that's SCADA, which you can go 2 floors up and mess with some really cool toys. Female in technology, ready to launch a nuclear missile. Yeah, that computer can't be updated either. So how are we going to protect our assets when we can't update anything? I was actually going to use this screenshot for the last, but only about half of you would probably get it. all you old people. So we have to understand the financial reward for doing bad things is greater than the punishment because law enforcement is woefully behind. When federal agents are actually up on technology, and yes, there are some out there, there are some agents that are malware reversers, and these aren't just like the CART team and the geeks. These are gun-carrying, badge-toting guys that can do really good shit. But the problem is they're still way behind because of the resources. They'll spend up to a year investigating one guy or one group of bad actors when there's hundreds and thousands out there. So the old adage of running faster than your friends when their bear comes, it holds true regarding law enforcement. Bad guys only have to be a bit smarter or in a better jurisdiction than their peers. Because law enforcement takes that much time, they can get away with it. But we see that same adage applied to network shit, and it doesn't hold anymore. For the average company, they say you have to be more secure than the other guy, and that's all. No, there's a lot more bears in the woods these days. How many of you actually watch your logs and see how many attacks come in? It's not like 20 years ago where it was like, oh shit, there's an attack. It's been 3 days since we saw one of those. Yeah, now it's like, well, there was 30 last minute. Ooh, we're down to 20 this minute. So it's a whole different thing. No, it was actually one of the things to reflect light. That was a National Geographic team that the camera shoot didn't go so well. And the first picture was, anyway. So there's tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of bad actors out there doing cutting edge attacks. And in the last 40 years, we still can't figure out spam. We're the professionals, we're the geniuses. We can't figure out spam, and we think we're gonna get a hold on these high-end attacks. And don't use the A. Yeah, I was saying. Cute, okay. Security? Yeah, damn it. We still don't use secure programming languages to help save developers from themselves and save developers from everyone else. And yeah, that was an actual cross-site scripting on the web page. Of course, it had to be statically added, but, and down here, Jim's like, ah. Yeah, so everything's working against us. We see worn keypads, security deployment fail, people that click shit, and a general lack of understanding. We have devs that have no incentive to think about security, no executive buy-in, software meant to protect us that adds vulnerabilities, and a widely accepted standard that's barely the no server left behind act. Trademark, copyright, no. So security software, and this is another line with stats, but not really. So security software is in red there. Those are vulnerabilities over the past 10 years. In blue is Microsoft vulnerabilities. How many of you realize that the security software you're using these days has collectively more vulnerabilities than all of Microsoft? Yeah, not many raised your hand, and that's kind of scary. As an industry, we talk about understanding hackers and thinking like them, yet we continue to provide degenerate solutions. They showed no understanding, such as IP-based threat intelligence. How many of you were around 20 years ago hacking and were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna divert through this system, or dial into this one, divert through that one, and then make your attack, and then the next day it was a different system. Yeah, 20 years ago you were showing that IP-based intelligence is ridiculous. The vendors will catch up soon. Yeah. Wishful thinking, yeah. So we have data loss protection that doesn't seem to work against the over 13,000 breaches that we know about. And by the way, that number is way out of date now, 13,195. That's because I wrote these slides like a week ago. That number's already way up, and that's kind of scary too. So there has to be a way to improve the dismal track record and actually improve things, right? I mean, that's why we're here, in theory. If not, then we should throw in the towel and go volunteer at our favorite shelters, be it animal or human, doesn't matter. Because doing that's gonna save the world a lot faster than what we're doing right now. If you don't agree, consider that others have already thrown in the towel and given up. And unfortunately for the industry, sometimes they're a cornerstone of our industry. This was said in on March 20, 2013, a year and a half ago. So all those firewalls, IDS, IPS, vuln alerting services, vuln stats, they're all based on CVE, right? Yeah, they're only missing about 32,000 known vulnerabilities right now. And they said, yeah, we're not a comprehensive database. We can't keep up with this shit. That's because they only get a few million a year. And other solutions out there did it for 20,000 a year. Does that seem right to you? No? Why do you use them? Consider it. So at some point we have to reconsider our battleground and come up with a new paradigm. I'm gonna drink twice for that line. Then we need to stop using ill-fitting military terms, industry buzzwords, and just speak plainly. Else this will become the most important part of our security offering. Yeah, it already is. I mean, how many of you are like, hey, screw the con, we're going to BarCon and HallCon and everything? Yeah, there's a reason for that. We work long hours. We don't get a lot done. It's stressful. So a bit of perspective. Before we come up with that new paradigm, it's 3 drinks, we really need to get some grounded perspective on some things that are hindering us from making positive change. In addition to that whole tirade about the bad guys and stupid users, the industry, we're our own worst enemy. Our intentions are the best, but as they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. There's a few things our community is losing focus on, and ultimately, they're doing as much bad as good. And let's start with the impact of our work, specifically vulnerability research. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great research out there. I'm a fan of a lot of it. It's very important to the industry, the consumers, and for those who we seek to protect. A friend was at a security conference recently and going around talking to people, and she recalls how everyone was up in arms over devices like pacemakers. Oh, they can be hacked. You know, this may lead to a death or whatever. And she looked around, and everyone was overweight and drinking coffee and smoking, and she's like, isn't heart disease on your mind? And they were like, oh, yeah, it doesn't matter, you know? So she asked, why aren't you focusing on that? And they were like, yeah, that comment's harsh. The fuck it is. And that's logical. So about 600,000 people die of a heart disease in the United States every year, which is 1 in every 4 deaths. Pick one of your friends to kick off. Why aren't you concerned? Huh? If you Google 4 hackers, that's one of the only pictures you'll find of 4 hackers. Anyway. 234,000 death certificates listed diabetes as the underlying cause of death or contributing cause. Over 3,000 people in 2012 due to crashes involving a distracted driver. As many as 1,000 people die a year to autoerotic asphyxiation. Hail to my kinky folk, yeah. Pay foresight, yeah. And death due to hacking pacemakers comes in at a resounding 0. Yet this is the big concern. This is what everyone's pushing. We see people on TV, on Fox and CNN, oh my God, pacemakers, they can be hacked. Medical can be hacked. Yes, it can. I'm not doubting that. I've seen the research. It's there. It's just that you have to put it into perspective. So when you talk about it, just remember who you're talking to. The next thing we seem to be losing focus on is our desire to hire more security people. For several years, there's been articles about the increasing demand and how we're a 0 unemployment industry and all that. We see long-standing certification bodies continue to push their meaningless certifications. New cert bodies jump on this. Yeah, and hundreds of boot camps that offer a quick path to getting certified. And if $600 in 1 week isn't good for you, there's some of them that'll just outright sell it if you have the money. No names mentioned. Hiring more warm bodies won't help the security problem at all. In fact, it's going to hurt us, if anything. Even worse, we have a small amount of people in the industry that have gone overboard on demanding warm bodies represent both genders equally. Yeah, there's a few ears perking up right about now, I know. The arguments range somewhere between the simple needed feminism and irrational desire to have more women in the industry, qualification be damned. In the process of lobbying for this, some of them, no names mentioned again, are causing more drama, and it's counterproductive to the goal. They seem to forget there's a difference between being offended and being harassed. In some cases, they actually manufacture drama at conferences. They go out of their way to set up drama. They bring a reporter into the conference to witness this drama, telling the reporter, oh, something might happen, and try to base their cause on this. And unfortunately, some of these organizations, no names mentioned, like to do it at BSides. So I'm kind of a champion for BSides, and fuck them for doing that and ruining good conferences, or trying to. And it's awesome that BSides stands up to them and says, you know, we see through you. I know we have no one in the audience that discriminates against women or will admit to it, yet it's a serious ongoing problem because it happens every day. And in some recent cases, I think right now they call it Gamergate or whatever, we're seeing a great example where females are getting death threats and they're having to cancel their talks at the risk of having themselves or their family hurt, and that's wrong. To anyone discriminating against women for any reason, let me share with you a historical secret. They've been doing it longer than men. Get that right. Grace. We like Grace. Yeah, if you actually read the story behind this, she's the awesome one in the group, and that's why the men are gathered around her. She did cool shit they didn't. Yeah, first home computer ever built. A female did it. Imagine that. And if you really think women have no place in tech, there's someone that does have a message for you. Fuck you. So, that's the prevailing thought right now in our industry. Come on, I didn't make the slide. You just have to Google and you'll find it. Come on. So how about as an industry, we drop the gender and race argument, and instead we treat everyone as a basic human being for starters. Then we discriminate on one thing and one thing only: qualifications. Are you smart? If you are, work in the industry, we'll be happy. Are you not smart? Get the hell out of here. Sorry, I'm picking on these two because I know them. More importantly, if we do this, then when the racial minority, whatever that is, which in some places is the white man, it doesn't matter what the minority is. If they come in and they're qualified and we treat them with respect, we will have happy InfoSec people. That will solve problems before any of this other shit will. So, I'm told a keynote's meant to inspire, and I know I haven't been doing that yet. But people pointed out I should inspire in a good way, and I was like, damn it, that's getting more difficult. That qualification is important since, like many of you, I'm a career pessimist. Our industry is based on pointing out the negatives. Penetration tests show where security and admins fail. Audits show where we don't meet compliance. Vulnerability disclosure shows flaws in programmers' code. That won't change unless we abandon our industry, and that will not happen because we all enjoy our paychecks, myself included. So what used to inspire hackers? Let's see if we can figure out where it came from and maybe divert it in the right direction. Early on, it was man versus machine in the general sense. Even before computers, we had phone systems built out of elaborate electromechanical moving parts that allowed communication over a weird mesh of copper wire. I mean, when you think about that with what we have today, it's fascinating that that even worked. And it took a freak to say, that's more than a wall phone. That's basically a gateway into the unknown. And they started exploring. Then it was a personal computer, especially the early kits you assembled. As one computer grew, or as the computer grew and became more powerful, became more feature-rich, and allowed us to communicate. And then we had bulletin board systems. And we started to share more. Then the internet made its appearance. The BBS world was expanding, and it lowered the bar for who could get online. It wasn't just the graybeards, hackers, and researchers anymore. And that opened the network to continue to inspire, explore, and build tools. And sometimes those tools did good or bad, depending on who used it. Early hackers had it easy going up against systems with basically no security. This was before firewalls. Yeah, imagine that. Imagine how easy it was hacking back then, and to a degree it was. On the other hand, it was very hard. You didn't have Google, you didn't have manuals, you couldn't download 18 different operating systems and run them on VMs on one computer. So the first big roadblock appeared, and that roadblock's called security, and deterred a few people. The rest were inspired. Then admins started disabling services, changing default permissions and putting up firewalls. Majority of avenues were gone completely, and the cat and mouse game intensified for a while. I know it's not a mouse, but I'm partial to squirrels. Yes, that's a chipmunk. It's also in the family Sciridae, which is the squirrel family. A few of you I know are just like looking for it. So then the web happened. Brought back a lot of passion for finding new ways in, for hackers losing interest in the network side. Yeah, that's one of the times my domain got defaced. Fluffy Bunny, he was cool. She, I don't know. That roadblock of a firewall was no more because it had to let traffic through to the web server. At first, they were simple web server. I heard an, oh God. Did I put someone's page up on accident? It's like, oh my God, I made that. Web servers and static content. Then apps became more robust. Not just one service, HTTP, we had PHP, JSON, XML, oh my. A dozen new classes of vulnerabilities popped up: cross-site scripting, SQL injection, traversals, auth bypass, you name it. And we learned that as security slowly catches up to the attackers, inspiration's harder to find. We have to find new things to stimulate us and make us more interested. If not, then your job becomes a job. A lot of us started doing security, and we got a paycheck, and we were like, this is great, I want to do this. I was doing this for free before, now I'm getting money. And at some point, no, it's like, I got to pen test that shitty network again? I've done it 4 times. They're not fixing anything. This isn't fun. Even the best job in your mind can suck. We can all break shit. That's a given. We all know that most software is not designed for security. Admins build systems for usability, and entire projects are graded by deadlines or budget. Hackers and security professionals like to boast about their greater intelligence as compared to many others. I largely agree. I don't think that we've been showing it for many years. Since we've proven it's easier to break than build, you aren't surprising anyone in security when you say, well, I bought this device and I ripped the case off and I soldered some wires on and I loaded my own firmware on the device and I got root. No shit. You'd be surprised at how many talks are submitted to conferences where that's the underlying principle. I'm on the DEF CON CFP team. We probably rejected a dozen talks that were like that, and a few got through because they were flashy. They had great names, and it's like, oh, we're going to expose this many devices in this many minutes. If you were in that talk, you saw, yeah, you can get root on 20 devices, 19 if you have a soldering iron. Is this a surprise to anyone? Yet it was one of the more popular talks. So we're not showing our intelligence as we need to. So I challenge you. My designated fighter is Jim Manico, so if you want to come at me, go to him. Give up the red cape. Put on a blue t-shirt. Every part of daily life is working against us. Test your mettle and prove you're a badass at InfoSec. Switch sides. Work on defense. We all break shit. Breaking in is a lot easier than defending it. There's thousands of bad actors already in your networks or desperately trying to get there. Find a new creative title you love, have fun with it, embrace it, run with it if it empowers you, as long as it's not evangelist. Quit using that term. So hopefully you found a little bit of meaning. I know. I image source, Twitter, Kickfroggy, yeah. So hopefully you found some meaning in this talk. If not, I'll be taking $5 a seat for the next talk. Questions? You booed me for taking questions? Oh. Yeah, Meerkat. Okay, seriously. Yes?
What do you see in the future of defense? I mean, we're so behind the game now. You're asking us to embrace defense. I'm with you. What's the future there?
So the question is, what is the future of defense? And asking me that is asking an NFL football player about diversity. It's just, they're going to stand there and stumble for a while and be like, hey, here's some buzzwords. And that's about all I have to offer on defense because I just haven't done it. Back when I was actually doing defense, it was my own system. It was 15 years ago. I think I kept most out, but eventually, no. Attrition's been popped at least 3 times that I know of. We operate daily under the assumption that it's owned by more than one person. And that's kind of a scary thing, is that that's become the norm for a lot of people. And at other recent BSides, had some panels where we kind of put forth the idea, if everything is owned, how do you do your job? And one of the kind of interesting concepts was, well, don't try to defend everything. Why are you trying to defend 100,000 machines on your network? Isolate your sensitive information, put more weight into those. If desktops get popped, just make sure that you actually have access restriction. You have access list, you know, shit that was like 30, 40 years old ago is a security concept that we still fail to do. I know. Oh, of course. Right, so there's an age-old chart. As security goes up, usability goes down, and you have to find that little sweet spot. To us in the room, the sweet spot, security is way up here, usability is way down here. To a developer or to the end user, they're like, if I catch a whiff of security, I'm coming over there and I'm kicking your ass. You know, they want to be able to go to Twitter, to Facebook, browse their porn, whatever. And the more privileges you give them, the harder it's going to be to defend your system. We understand that. So at some point, we have to say, this is a company resource. You're on a company computer, and you're going to follow company guidelines. End of story. If you want to browse shit, bring your own device, and no, you can't get on our network. Why can't we do that? Why are we giving in to our users when they're the ones making our lives hard? At some point, we have to stand up to them and say, you want me to do my job? Well, start doing yours instead of browsing these porn sites that have, you know, drive-by attacks. Oh yeah, requiring secure code. There's another unicorn. There's some languages that basically work against that completely, and they're like, ooh, hey, we can use this language. I heard PHP is easy to learn. And I knock on PHP, and part of that also is because if you ever look at the developer track record, they're about 50-50 on whether they even acknowledge a security incident. It's like, hey, that vulnerability could be remote code execution. Blip. Nope, not going to deal with that one. Next. That should scare you too. Any other questions? Space Rogue? Okay, in that case, I'll be out there if you want to ask questions that aren't in front of the audience. I'd like to thank everyone for their time, and hopefully you enjoy the conference.